The day Earth made first contact was supposed to be a day of celebration. Humans had dreamed of this moment for centuries, wondering if they were alone in the vast universe. Now, they had their answer. The Zalthori, a peaceful alien race from a distant galaxy, reached out to humanity with open arms. Their ships appeared in the sky one sunny afternoon, hovering silently over major cities across the globe. The world held its breath, waiting to see if this was the beginning of a new era or the start of an invasion. But the Zalthori came in peace. They were tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes. Their technology was far beyond anything Earth had ever seen, and they offered to share it freely. In return, they asked only for cultural exchange and friendship. World leaders gathered at the United Nations to welcome the alien ambassadors. The meeting was broadcast live across the planet, and billions watched as humanity took its first steps into a larger galactic community. We extend the hand of friendship to our cosmic neighbors, the UN Secretary-General said, her voice filled with emotion. Together, we will build a brighter future for both our species. The Zalthori leader, a being named Xanthor, bowed deeply. We are honored to be welcomed by your people, he said, his words translated by an advanced device. Let this be the beginning of a long and prosperous relationship between our worlds. As part of this new relationship, the UN proposed sending a human child as a goodwill ambassador to the Zalthori homeworld. The child would learn their ways, act as a bridge between the two species, and return to Earth to share their experiences. After a global search, 8-year-old Lily Chen from Singapore was chosen. She was bright, curious, and fearless, the perfect representative for humanity's first steps into the stars. Lily's parents, though proud, were understandably nervous. Are you sure you want to go, sweetheart? Her mother asked, tears in her eyes. Lily nodded enthusiastically. I'm going to make new alien friends, Mama. And I'll learn so much to tell everyone when I come back. The day of Lily's departure was marked by parades and celebrations. People lined the streets, waving flags and cheering as the young girl made her way to the Zalthori ship. Lily waved back, her smile bright enough to light up the world. As she boarded the alien vessel, Lily turned back one last time. I'll make you all proud, she called out, her voice carried by microphones to the crowd below. Then, with a final wave, she disappeared into the ship. The world watched in awe as the Zalthori ship rose gracefully into the sky, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams with it. For weeks, everything seemed perfect. Regular transmissions from Lily showed her learning alien languages, playing with Zalthori children, and marveling at the wonders of an alien world. But then, without warning, the transmissions stopped. At first, Earth's leaders tried to stay calm. It's probably just a technical issue, they'd assured the public. But as days turned into weeks with no word from Lily or the Zalthori, fear began to grow. Finally, after a month of silence, a message came through. It was Xanthor, the Zalthori leader. His usually smooth features were twisted with grief. People of Earth, he began, his voice heavy. It is with the deepest sorrow that I must inform you of a terrible tragedy. The world held its breath. Young Lily Chen has died. The news hit Earth like a physical blow. Crowds gathered in front of viewscreens fell silent, then erupted in cries of disbelief and anguish. Lily's parents collapsed in each other's arms, their sobs echoing the grief of an entire planet. Xanthor continued, explaining that a faction within Zalthori society, opposed to contact with other species, had taken violent action. They sabotaged the environmental controls in Lily's quarters, he said, his voice breaking. By the time we discovered what had happened, it was too late. As the Zalthori leader spoke of regret and promised justice, something changed in the heart of humanity. The shock of loss turned to anger. The dream of peaceful coexistence shattered, replaced by a burning desire for vengeance. In homes, in offices, in the halls of power, people began to ask the same questions. How could this happen? How could they let an innocent child die? And most importantly, what was Earth going to do about it? The death of Lily Chen marked the end of humanity's innocence in the face of the cosmos. As night fell across the planet, people looked up at the stars with new eyes. The universe was no longer a place of wonder and possibility. It had become a dangerous frontier, one that had taken one of their own. And humanity would not let that stand unanswered. The news of Lily Chen's death spread across Earth like wildfire. Within hours, the entire planet was in mourning. But as the initial shock faded, a new emotion began to take hold: anger. In Singapore, Lily's parents stood before a sea of cameras. Mr. Chen's voice shook as he spoke. "Our daughter went to the stars in peace. She was killed by cowards. We demand justice." His words echoed the sentiments of billions. People took to the streets in every major city, holding candlelight vigils that quickly turned into protests. Signs reading "Justice for Lily" and "Never Again" filled the air. World leaders scrambled to respond. The United Nations called an emergency session. As representatives from every nation gathered, the mood was grim. The UN Secretary General addressed the assembly, her face etched with sorrow and determination. The death of Lily Chen is not just a tragedy. It is an attack on all of humanity. We must respond. What followed was the most unified vote in UN history. Every member nation agreed. Earth would build a fleet, not just for defense, but to seek justice for Lily and to show the galaxy that humanity was not to be trifled with. The Lily Chen Act was passed, allocating massive resources to space technology and military development. Countries that had been enemies for centuries now worked side by side, pooling their knowledge and resources. In laboratories and factories around the world, scientists and engineers worked around the clock. New alloys were developed, stronger and lighter than anything before. Propulsion systems were revolutionized, promising speeds that would have seemed impossible just months ago. Military recruitment soared. Young people, inspired by Lily's memory, signed up in droves. Training camps sprang up on every continent, preparing Earth's new defenders for the challenges of space. Meanwhile, diplomatic relations with the Zalthori grew tense. Earth's leaders demanded more information about Lily's death and the extremist faction responsible. The aliens seemed genuinely remorseful, but their explanations and offers of compensation fell on deaf ears. 6 months after Lily's death, Earth unveiled its first new warship. Named the HFY Lily's Hope, it was a marvel of engineering. Sleek, powerful, and armed with weapons beyond anything humanity had possessed before, it represented Earth's new determination. As the ship rose from its launch pad, crowds cheered. For the first time since the tragedy, people felt a sense of hope. They were no longer helpless in the face of alien threats. But the Lily's Hope was just the beginning. More ships followed, each more advanced than the last. Within a year, Earth had a fleet that could rival any in the galaxy. The fleet wasn't just a military force. It carried Earth's best scientists, diplomats, and explorers. Humanity was preparing not just for war, but for a new era of galactic politics and exploration. As the fleet grew, so did Earth's confidence. Countries that had once squabbled over terrestrial matters now united in their cosmic ambitions. A new sense of human identity emerged, one that saw all people of Earth as one species, united against the dangers of the universe. Schools began teaching cosmic history, with Lily Chen's story at its heart. Children learned not just about Earth's past, but about its potential future among the stars. 2 years to the day after Lily's death, Earth's fleet was ready. Hundreds of ships, crewed by the best and brightest from every nation, waited in orbit. The largest vessel, a massive carrier named Earth's Vengeance, led the Armada. On the eve of the fleet's departure, the UN Secretary General addressed the world once more. "Tomorrow, we take our first true steps into the galaxy," she said. "We go not just to seek justice for Lily, but to secure humanity's place in the cosmos. We have been tested, and we have risen to the challenge. Let the universe know. Humanity has arrived." As night fell, People around the world stepped outside and looked up at the stars. The fleet was visible as a constellation of moving lights, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. Parents hugged their children close, whispering promises of a safer future. Soldiers and scientists aboard the ships sent final messages to loved ones. And in a small apartment in Singapore, Lily Chen's parents watched the fleet with tears in their eyes, knowing their daughter's death had changed the course of human history. The next morning, with the eyes of the world upon them, Earth's fleet engaged their engines. In a blaze of light, they accelerated away from Earth, carrying with them the hopes, dreams, and righteous anger of an entire planet. Humanity's journey to the stars had truly begun. The Earth's mighty fleet, led by the flagship Earth's Vengeance, pushed deeper into space. For many aboard, it was their first time leaving Earth's orbit. Despite years of training, nothing could have prepared them for the awesome reality of interstellar travel. Captain Sarah Chen, no relation to Lily but chosen for her namesake, stood on the bridge of Earth's Vengeance. She watched as the last glimpse of Earth faded from view. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the emotion of the moment. "All systems nominal, Captain," her first officer responded. "The fleet is in perfect formation. We're ready to engage the new faster-than-light drives." Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the starfield ahead. "Initiate FTL jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." In a brilliant flash of light, the entire fleet vanished from Earth's solar system. Humanity had taken its first step into the vast unknown of deep space. The journey to the Zalthori homeworld would take months, even with the advanced propulsion systems. During this time, the crew trained relentlessly. They ran battle simulations, practiced diplomatic scenarios, and fine-tuned their newly developed weapons. But it wasn't all work. In their downtime, crew members from different nations and backgrounds mingled, sharing stories and forming bonds. They taught each other songs and games from their homelands, creating a new culture that was uniquely Earth's fleet. One evening, in the mess hall of Earth's Vengeance, a group gathered around Raj, an Indian physicist. He was explaining the principles behind their FTL drive. "You see," he said, eyes shining with excitement, "we're not actually moving faster than light. We're bending space itself, creating a bubble around the ship. Space contracts in front of us and expands behind us, allowing us to cover vast distances in the blink of an eye." "But how does that work with the whole fleet?" asked Maria, a Brazilian navigator. Raj grinned. "That's the beauty of it. We've synchronized the drives across all ships. We move as one, maintaining our formation even across light years." These conversations happened all over the fleet. Engineers discussed the latest advancements in shield technology. Soldiers debated tactics for space warfare. Scientists pondered the mysteries they might uncover in alien star systems. But beneath the excitement and camaraderie, a current of tension ran through the fleet. Everyone knew they were on a mission of justice, potentially of war. The memory of Lily Chen hung over them like a shadow, a constant reminder of why they had left Earth behind. As they traveled, the fleet encountered wonders beyond imagination. They saw the birth of stars in stellar nurseries, witnessed the awesome power of black holes from a safe distance, and mapped nebulae of breathtaking beauty. Each discovery was transmitted back to Earth, where billions followed the fleet's journey with bated breath. Schools held special classes to discuss the latest findings, and newscasts were dominated by updates from space. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Halfway through their journey, the fleet encountered its first major challenge. They passed through an uncharted asteroid field, dense with rocks the size of mountains. Alarms blared across the ships as the asteroids appeared on their sensors. Captain Chen's voice came over the intercom, calm but urgent. "All hands, brace for evasive maneuvers." The fleet split apart, each ship weaving through the deadly obstacle course. Smaller, more agile ships darted between the rocks, while larger vessels used their advanced weapons to blast a path through. On Earth's Vengeance, Sarah gripped her command chair as the massive ship tilted and rolled. Tactical, target the largest asteroids. Clear us a path. Beams of energy lanced out from the flagship, vaporizing asteroids in brilliant explosions. For tense hours, the fleet navigated the field, their training and technology put to the ultimate test. When they finally emerged on the other side, a cheer went up across the comm channels. They had faced their first trial and emerged victorious. The event bonded the fleet even tighter, forging them into a true fighting force. As they resumed their journey, the mood across the fleet had changed. They were no longer just explorers or seekers of justice. They were survivors, tested by the dangers of space and stronger for it. In her quarters that night, Captain Chen recorded a log entry. "We've taken our first steps into a larger universe," she said softly. "It's more wondrous and more perilous than we ever imagined. But we're ready. Whatever comes next, be it peace or war, Earth's fleet will face it head-on." She paused, looking out her window at the stars streaking by. "Lily," she whispered, "we're coming, and we'll make sure your sacrifice wasn't in vain." With renewed determination, Earth's fleet pressed on towards its destination, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw at them next. After months of travel, Earth's fleet finally arrived at the edge of the Zalthori star system. The mood on the ships was tense. Everyone knew that the next few hours would shape the future of humanity. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of Earth's Vengeance, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. The Zalthori homeworld loomed large, a blue-green jewel surrounded by a web of satellites and space stations. "All ships, report in," Sarah ordered. One by one, the captains of Earth's fleet confirmed their readiness. Weapons were charged, shields were up, and every crew member was at their station. Suddenly, alarms blared across the fleet. Multiple contacts detected. The sensor officer shouted, "Zalthori ships approaching fast." Sarah's jaw tightened. "Open a channel to the lead ship," she commanded. The face of a Zalthori appeared on the screen. Its iridescent skin shimmered with agitation. "Unidentified fleet, you have entered Zalthori space without permission. State your purpose or leave immediately." Sarah stepped forward, her voice firm. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of Earth's fleet. We have come seeking justice for the death of Lily Chen and to ensure the safety of humanity." The Zalthori's large eyes widened in surprise. "Earth, but we sent messages. We explained what happened. The criminals responsible for the child's death have been punished." "Your messages were not enough," Sarah replied. "We need to see for ourselves. We need guarantees that such a thing will never happen again." The Zalthori commander seemed to hesitate. I must consult with my superiors. Please, remain where you are." The screen went dark. Sarah turned to her crew. "Stay alert. This could be a trick." Minutes ticked by intense silence. Then, without warning, energy beams lanced out from the Zalthori ships. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah shouted. "All ships, return fire." The space around them erupted into chaos. Earth's ships scattered, their advanced technology allowing them to move with incredible speed and precision. The Earth's Vengeance shuddered as it absorbed a hit. "Shields at 85%, an officer reported. "Target their lead ship," Sarah ordered. "Fire main cannons." A massive beam of energy shot out from the Earth's Vengeance. Cutting through space, it struck the Zalthori flagship, causing its shields to flare brightly. All around them, the battle raged. Earth's smaller ships darted between the larger Zalthori vessels, their weapons finding weak spots in the alien defenses. Despite being outnumbered, Earth's fleet was holding its own. Their technology, born from 2 years of intense development and the burning desire for justice, was proving superior. In the heat of battle, Sarah noticed something odd. Why aren't they using their more advanced weapons? She wondered aloud. From what we know, they should be capable of much more. Her tactical officer, John, looked up from his console. "Captain, I think I think they're holding back. They're not fighting to destroy us. Sarah's eyes narrowed. But why? After what they did to Lily. Before she could finish her thought, a new voice came over the comm system. Earth Fleet, please cease fire. We wish to parley. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then made a decision. All ships, hold fire, she commanded. But keep shields up and weapons ready. The battle came to an abrupt halt. In the sudden silence, Sarah could hear the heavy breathing of her crew, the hum of the ship's systems. The view screen flickered to life again. This time, it showed an older Zalthori, its skin a deep, shimmering blue. I am High Chancellor Zorax, it said. Please, we do not wish to fight you. What happened to your young one was a terrible tragedy, but it was the act of a small group of extremists. They do not represent our people. Sarah stood tall, her voice steady. We've come too far to turn back now, Chancellor. We need more than words. We need to see for ourselves that justice has been done. Zorax nodded slowly. I understand. Perhaps it is time for us to face our mistakes openly. Captain Chen, I invite you and a delegation from your fleet to come to our world. See with your own eyes what has happened. Let us talk face to face, not through the crosshairs of our weapons. Sarah looked around at her crew, seeing the mix of suspicion and hope on their faces. This was the moment that would decide everything. The future of Earth, of humanity's place in the galaxy, hung in the balance. After a long moment, she turned back to the screen. We accept your invitation, Chancellor. But know this, if this is a trick, if any harm comes to our delegation, the full might of Earth will rain down upon your world. Zorax bowed its head. You have my word, Captain. Come in peace, and you will find peace. As the transmission ended, Sarah took a deep breath. They had won their first battle, not through overwhelming force, but by standing firm. Now came the real test, diplomacy. Prepare a shuttle, she ordered. It's time to meet the aliens face to face. The shuttle descended through the atmosphere of the Zalthori homeworld, carrying Captain Sarah Chen and a small delegation from Earth. As they approached the surface, the alien landscape came into view, a world of shimmering crystal spires and swirling, multicolored clouds. Sarah's heart raced. They were about to become the first humans to set foot on an alien world. But this was no joyous occasion for first contact. They came seeking justice, bearing the weight of Earth's anger and grief. The shuttle touched down in a large plaza surrounded by towering structures. A group of Zalthori waited for them, led by High Chancellor Zorax. As the humans stepped out, they were hit by the alien world's atmosphere. It was breathable, but had a strange, sweet scent. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's, making their steps feel bouncy and uncertain. Sarah approached Zorax, her back straight, her face a mask of diplomatic neutrality. High Chancellor, she said, on behalf of Earth, we thank you for this opportunity to discuss our concerns in person. Zorax bowed deeply, its iridescent skin shimmering in the alien sunlight. Captain Chen, we welcome you and your delegation to Zalthor. We hope that together we can heal the wounds between our peoples. The delegation was led into a grand building, its interior a maze of shifting colors and abstract shapes. They were brought to a large circular room where other Zalthori officials waited. As they sat down, Sarah couldn't help but notice the tension in the room. The Zalthori seemed nervous, their large eyes darting between the humans. Zorax spoke first. We understand your anger. The death of young Lily Chen was a terrible tragedy. But please believe me when I say it was not the will of our people. Sarah leaned forward. Then explain to us, Chancellor. Explain how a child under your protection could be murdered by your own kind. The Chancellor's skin darkened, a sign of distress. The group responsible was a small but radical faction. They believed that contact with other species would dilute our culture. They acted without our knowledge or consent. And what has been done to bring them to justice? Sarah pressed. The leaders of the faction have been tried and imprisoned for life, Zorak said. We have also implemented strict new security measures to prevent any such tragedy from occurring again. Sarah exchanged glances with her team. It was more than they had expected, but was it enough? One of the human diplomats spoke up. Chancellor, while we appreciate these actions, Earth requires more than just assurances. We need to see concrete steps towards ensuring the safety of all species in this part of the galaxy. Zorax nodded slowly. We understand. That is why we propose the creation of an interstellar council, a body where different species can come together, share knowledge, and work out conflicts peacefully. The humans were taken aback. This was far more than they had anticipated. Furthermore, Zorax continued, we wish to offer Earth a seat on this council, as a sign of our commitment to peace and our desire to make amends. The room fell silent. Sarah felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about Lily anymore. This was about the future of humanity among the stars. Chancellor, she said carefully, your offer is unexpected. We will need to discuss this with our leadership back on Earth. Zorax inclined its head. Of course. Take all the time you need. But please, while you are here, allow us to show you our world. Let us prove to you that we are not the monsters you might believe us to be. Over the next few days, the human delegation was given a tour of Zalfor. They saw wonders beyond imagination. Floating cities, forests of crystalline trees, creatures that defied Earth's definition of life. They also met ordinary Zalfori citizens. Many approached the humans with gestures of sorrow and regret, offering small gifts as tokens of apology. As the diplomatic talks continued, Sarah found her anger slowly giving way to a cautious hope. The Zalfori seemed genuinely remorseful and eager to make amends. On the final day of their visit, Sarah stood on a balcony overlooking the alien city. A Zalfori child approached her, holding out a small, glowing object. For Lily, the child said in broken English. To remember. Sarah took the gift, tears welling in her eyes. In that moment, she realized that vengeance wasn't the answer. The path forward was through understanding and cooperation. As she prepared to return to the fleet, Sarah knew she had a difficult message to deliver. Earth had come seeking revenge, but they might have found something far more valuable, a future among the stars. The real challenge now would be convincing a grieving and angry Earth to accept this unexpected olive branch. The return journey to Earth was tense. Captain Sarah Chen sat in her quarters aboard the Earth's Vengeance, staring at the small, glowing gift from the Zalfori child. How could she explain to her superiors, to the people of Earth, that she believed peace was the best path forward? As the fleet approached Earth, Sarah called a meeting with her fellow captains. The ship's conference room was packed, faces etched with curiosity and concern. I know what you're all thinking, Sarah began. We came here for justice, for revenge. But what we found, it's not what we expected. She explained everything. The Zalfori's remorse, their actions against the extremists, and their offer of a seat on an interstellar council. Captain Rodriguez, a gruff veteran, spoke up. With all due respect, Captain Chen, have you forgotten why we're here? They killed a child. Our child. Sarah nodded solemnly. I haven't forgotten, Miguel. But I've seen their world, their people. This is our chance to prevent more deaths, to ensure no other child, human or alien, suffers Lily's fate. The room erupted in debate. Some agreed with Sarah, seeing the potential for a peaceful future. Others demanded harsher punishment for the Zalfori. As they neared Earth, a decision was reached. They would present both options to the United Nations, peace or continued conflict. The choice would be humanity's to make. The fleet's return was met with parades and celebrations. People cheered as the ships descended, hailing their heroes who had braved the stars. But the mood shifted when the true nature of their return was revealed. News of the peace offer spread quickly, dividing public opinion. The United Nations convened an emergency session to hear Captain Chen's report. The Grand Assembly Hall was packed, with billions more watching the live broadcast around the world. Sarah stood at the podium, her voice steady as she recounted their journey and the unexpected turn of events. She presented the Zalforis' offer of alliance and a seat on the Interstellar Council. "We went to the stars seeking justice for Lily Chen," she concluded. "I believe this offer, this chance to shape the future of our galaxy, is the best way to honor her memory." The hall erupted in a cacophony of shouts and arguments. Some delegates demanded immediate acceptance of the offer, seeing it as a chance for humanity to take its place among the stars. Others called for rejection, insisting that only harsh punishment of the Zalfori would serve as true justice. Amidst the chaos, a small figure made their way to the podium. The room fell silent as Lily Chen's parents stood before the assembly. Mrs. Chen spoke, her voice shaking but determined. "2 years ago, we lost our daughter. We've lived every day since then with anger and grief in our hearts." Mr. Chen continued, "We supported this mission because we wanted justice for our little girl. But now," he paused, taking a deep breath, "now we understand that true justice isn't about punishment. It's about creating a better future." The couple held up a photo of Lily, her bright smile captured forever. "Our daughter dreamed of a future where humans and aliens could be friends. Captain Chen's report gives us hope that this dream can become reality." Their words resonated through the hall and across the planet. Gradually, the tide of opinion began to shift. After days of intense debate, a vote was called. The question: should humanity accept the Zalforis' offer and take its place on the Interstellar Council? The world held its breath as the votes were tallied. In the end, the result was clear. With a significant majority, Earth had chosen peace. As the decision was announced, cheers erupted around the globe. It wasn't unanimous. There were still those who felt justice had not been served. But for most, this represented a new beginning, a chance to build something greater than revenge. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the UN podium once more, this time to accept the role of Earth's first representative to the Interstellar Council. As she looked out at the assembly, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. "Today, we choose to honor Lily Chen, not through vengeance, but by building the future she dreamed of," Sarah said. "We will carry her memory with us to the stars, as we work to create a galaxy where no child, human or alien, will suffer her fate." As Sarah finished her speech, a strange feeling swept across the planet. It was more than hope, more than excitement. It was the sense that humanity had just taken its first, true step into a larger universe. The journey that began with tragedy was transforming into something beautiful, a future among the stars. 5 years had passed since Earth made its monumental decision to join the Interstellar Council. The world had changed in ways few could have imagined when Lily Chen first set out on her ill-fated journey to the stars. On a warm summer day, a crowd gathered in Singapore's Merlion Park. At its center stood a new monument, a gleaming statue of a young girl reaching towards the sky, stars twinkling in her outstretched hand. It was the Lily Chen Memorial, a reminder of the tragedy that had propelled humanity to the stars and the peace that had blossomed from it. Sarah Chen, no longer a captain but now Earth's senior representative to the Interstellar Council, stood before the crowd. Her once black hair was now streaked with gray, a testament to the challenges of the past 5 years. 5 years ago, she began, her voice carrying across the hushed gathering. "We stood at a crossroads. We had to choose between vengeance and hope, between isolation and connection. We chose hope. We chose connection. And look at how far we've come." Indeed, Earth had flourished in its new role. The exchange of knowledge with alien species had accelerated human technology beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Clean energy powered every corner of the planet. Diseases once thought incurable were now easily treated. Poverty, while not eliminated, had been greatly reduced. But it wasn't just Earth that had benefited. The Interstellar Council, with humanity's input, had implemented new safeguards to protect vulnerable species and individuals. The tragedy of Lily Chen would never be repeated. As Sarah spoke, screens around the park showed images from across the galaxy. Human scientists working alongside Zalthori researchers. Earth ships joining alien fleets to explore the farthest reaches of space. Children from a dozen different species playing together in zero-gravity schools. We've learned so much, Sarah continued, not just about the universe, but about ourselves. We've learned that our strength lies not in our ability to conquer, but in our capacity to connect, to understand, to forgive. In the front row, Lily's parents listened, tears in their eyes but smiles on their faces. They had become ambassadors in their own right, traveling to alien worlds to share their story of loss and redemption. As Sarah's speech neared its end, a murmur rippled through the crowd. People pointed to the sky, where a shimmering light had appeared. It grew larger, resolving into the form of the Zalthori ship, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. The ship landed softly in the bay next to the park. From it emerged a delegation of Zalthori, led by an older alien with deep blue, shimmering skin, High Chancellor Zorax. Sarah smiled and extended her hand in welcome. Chancellor, we're honored by your presence. Zorax took her hand, its large eyes blinking with emotion. The honor is ours, Representative Chen. We could not miss this day of remembrance and celebration. Together, human and alien approached the statue. Zorax placed a small glowing orb at its base, a piece of Zalthori art created in Lily's memory. From tragedy, we have forged a bond stronger than the stars, Zorax said, its voice translating smoothly through advanced technology. Lily Chen's spirit lives on in the peace we have built together. As the ceremony concluded, children from the crowd came forward. Some were human, others were young aliens from various species who now called Earth home. They placed flowers and small gifts around the statue, a rainbow of colors from a dozen worlds. Sarah watched the scene, her heart full. This was the future they had fought for, the legacy that had grown from unimaginable loss. A galaxy united, not in fear or anger, but in understanding and hope. As night fell, the statue of Lily Chen lit up, projecting a field of stars that danced around the park. Humans and aliens alike looked up in wonder, seeing not just distant suns, but bridges between worlds. In that moment, Sarah thought of the long journey that had brought them here. From the depths of grief to the heights of interstellar cooperation. It hadn't been easy, and there were still challenges ahead. But as she watched the children play beneath the starry projection, she knew that they had chosen the right path. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, and the spirit of a brave little girl named Lily Chen would forever guide their way.